The impact of 90s anime on pop culture and the medium itself cannot be overstated. It was an era that produced works that tug at our minds and hearts to this day. The use of vibrant colors, the excessive usage of bloom, extremely detailed art, and the painstakingly hand-drawn animations evoke a sense of warmth and comfort in the audience. This is the era of anime, which created a foothold in the hearts of most viewers from around the world outside of Japan. It would see the creation of titles that would establish themselves as household names for generations to come and set industry standards. With the advent of modern digitized anime, these titles only live on in our memories, old discs, and VHS tapes. In this video, we'll be talking about some of our favorite anime from the 90s that's aged like fine wine. The list is in no particular order as we didn't have the heart to rank. We've included anime belonging to various genres, some of which you might be familiar with and some that might have slipped past you. So hop into our time machine because it's time to drop a few nostalgia bombs. Berserk! 1997. The seminal work of the late legendary mangaka Kentaro Miura, Berserk is a supernatural dark fantasy anime set in a medieval world. It follows the story of Guts, a boy born from a hanged corpse who became a mercenary, and his journey to defeat and kill his former friend and leader, Griffith. He seeks to kill Griffith for betraying and sacrificing him and his comrades in order to ascend as the powerful demon lord Femto, a member of the God Hand, who are a group of extremely powerful archdemons. It's an extremely dark and gritty tale that contains graphic themes of violence such as torture and rape. These themes are not used as mere tools for shock value. Instead, the series uses them to explore several more profound themes of humanity, such as love, friendship, the resilience of the human spirit, morality, vengeance, and betrayal. The artwork for the series is intricately drawn with extreme detail that teleports the audience into the grim, dark, and beautiful world. The anime ran from October 8th, 1997 to April 1st, 1998. A later adaptation would be released in 2016. Although the 2016 adaptation would do an excellent job of presenting the series with modern animation, it fails to truly capture the beauty and atmosphere of the older series. It could not faithfully reproduce Miura's use of cross-hatching in detail and textures, which the 90s adaptation did so well. This is one of the best examples of an anime that has aged beautifully, as the older adaptation is almost always recommended over the newer one by fans of the series. Berserk has inspired an entire generation of anime, video games, and even rock bands. Some of the creators of our favorite shows like Full Metal Alchemist, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Blue Exorcist, Black Butler, and Netflix's Castlevania and Vinland Saga have cited Berserk as their influence. Kentaro Miura himself drew inspiration from various places, such as The Lord of the Rings, Mad Max, Fist of the North Star, Violence Jack, and even Star Wars. It's incredible how, even 27 years after its release, the original anime still manages to stir the heart of its audience. In our opinion, this series is something that you absolutely cannot miss. Trigun, 1998. Trigun is the story of Vash the Stampede, a man with a fearsome reputation whose very presence heralds death and destruction. He's known as a ruthless killer who takes no prisoners. What we actually find out is, contrary to the rumors, Vash is a soft-hearted, donut-loving, goofy pacifist who claims to have never taken a single life. The rumors, in fact, are spawned due to his conflicts with bounty hunters who are constantly after him due to his reputation earning him a massive bounty. He suffers from what is described as retrograde amnesia and has only vague recollections of the past. The story takes place in the wastelands of No Man's Land, and he travels with two insurance agents, Meryl and Millie, who try to minimize the damage caused by his presence. We follow him on his adventure as he learns more about himself and the humans on this planet. Our happy-go-lucky gunslinger, however, is forced to contend with his past when he's attacked by a group of legendary assassins and a foe who holds the key to his memories. Created by Yasuhiro Nightow and produced by the acclaimed studio Madhouse, Trigun is an all-time anime great. The anime has been featured in several of the top all-time best anime lists by critics. The author created Vash as a pacifist because he wanted his hero to stand out from the rest of the protagonists of his time. Nightow explores the human psyche through the juxtaposition of his pacifist protagonist against a violent dystopian wasteland. It ran from April 1st, 1998 to September 30th, 1998 for a total of 26 episodes. The animation of that era lends itself greatly to the portrayal of this homage of Western films, as it adds a nice retro touch. The usage of color and lighting and the hand-drawn animation are as beautiful now as they were back then. Although a newer 2023 series has been released, we highly recommend you check out the original first. If you're a fan of sci-fi and Western narratives, this is a beautiful marriage of both genres. Slam Dunk, 1993. If you're a fan of the sports anime genre, you've gotten a lot of great titles to feast on recently with the growing popularity of sports anime due to titles such as Kuroko no Basket, Haikyuu, and Blue Protocol to name a few. With the influx of such amazing modern titles, it's easy to forget the series that laid the foundation for this genre, Slam Dunk. The story revolves around Hanamichi Sakuragi, a brash high school student in search of love who joins the Shohoku basketball club to impress the only girl he hasn't managed to frighten away. The anime is centered around Hanamichi's growth as a player and a person as he comes to truly love the game of basketball while working along with his other teammates and rival KD Rukawa to achieve their captain's dream of winning the national championships. Sports genre requires animation to be top tier in terms of fluidity and giving a good sense of direction, especially when it comes to fast-paced sports like basketball. Considering the technological limitations of this era, the animations for this show are far ahead of their time in those aspects. Slam Dunk is an anime whose influence far exceeds its medium. It's credited with influencing an entire generation of Japanese youths to take up basketball, hence increasing the popularity of the sport in the country. Author Takahiko Inoue even received a special commendation from the Japan Basketball Association for the series' contribution towards the growth of the sport. The show is responsible for establishing a lot of tropes that are still used in sports anime today. The anime has a total of 101 episodes and ran from October 16, 1993 to March 23, 1996. A masterpiece that's a perfect example of how art inspires life, this is a must-watch anime and easily one of the best to come out of the 90s. Neon Genesis Evangelion, 1995. A true juggernaut of the medium, Neon Genesis Evangelion is the brainchild of the acclaimed director Hideaki Anno. The anime truly broke the mold when it came to what the audience expects from a mecha series. Shinji Ikari is a teenager who has been recruited by his father to operate a biomechanical mecha called an Evangelion, and he and a small team of other teenagers will fight the threat of the Angels, who are responsible for bringing on cataclysms that are on the verge of destroying the planet. The show boasts an extremely layered narrative, which sucks the audience into the world laid out by Anno. What initially starts as an ordinary mech anime soon devolves into the exploration of themes such as the Oedipus complex, depression, schizophrenia, and religion. It puts us in the minds of our protagonists and the rest of the cast as their concepts of reality are constantly challenged by the events of the show. Yes, the mech battles between the Angels and the Evangelions are a spectacle to behold and are probably some of the most groundbreaking animations of the period, but that's just a small part of the whole that this anime seeks to present. From the fight scenes to the emotions that play over the characters' faces, the animations are highly detailed and rendered with the utmost care and skill. The anime series had a wide impact which is felt to this day with an ever-growing fan base. The show ushered in a revival in the Japanese animation industry, which had become stagnant during the economic crisis of Japan in the 90s. It moved the entire industry towards a more quality over quantity mindset, set new standards when it came to animation, and once more increased the viewership of anime across Japan's borders. The show is still watched and loved by millions even today, despite the original run having aired 29 years ago. This just goes to reaffirm what a timeless classic this anime is, therefore, it easily makes the list for this video. Sailor Moon, 1992. Though the Mahou Shoujo genre has existed far longer than Sailor Moon has, this series is credited with establishing the tropes that we're familiar with in the titles that came afterwards. While its predecessors in the magical girl genre, like Magical Princess Minky Momo and Sally the Witch, had their protagonists deal with problems that were more akin to what you would find in a slice-of-life anime, Sailor Moon would flip the script on its head. By adopting themes and a plot you would probably find in a shonen series, like the heroine using her powers to save the day by fighting off villains and threats. It did this while maintaining its shoujo identity, which was something that had never been done before. The story revolves around the adventures of Usagi Tsukino, a middle school girl who receives her powers to transform into the titular character Sailor Moon from a black cat who goes by the name Luna. She starts off as a self-proclaimed crybaby who mourns the fact that she's not a normal girl. As she gathers more allies and comes to terms with her powers, Tsukino gradually accepts her gifts and decides to use her powers to protect the innocent and fight evil. The anime doesn't resign this level of depth to just its main character, as the show features a robust roster of characters who are all deeply layered. The animation is top tier, with attention to even the smallest details, like the size of characters' eyes depending on the emotion they most exhibit, with very emotional characters having more prominent eyes. The animations for the transformations are particularly well crafted and are still used as a template for many shows of the genre today. The show has aged rather well, and it's easy to the eye even now. Naoko Takeuchi managed to create a series series that would go on to garner cult status. It brought in fresh blood to the genre. No doubt that it attracted a wave of young adults and women towards anime, but it also drew in audiences composed of men who would otherwise not consume any shoujo manga or anime. The show was a perfect marriage of the attractive feminine tropes and character design of a shoujo series, the action-packed plot of a shonen show. In a time when female protagonists were almost non-existent, Sailor Moon was a breath of fresh air and showed the world that shows with female leads could also draw in audiences. Like the other giants of this era, this anime's impact had far-reaching effects, from inspiring future shows like Cardcaptor Sakura, Precure, and Wedding Peach to being a topic for cultural anthropology studies. It has even spawned a popular idol group that goes by the name SG5/Sailor Guardian 5. It breathed new life into a genre that was somewhat niche and made it into a global phenomenon. Samurai X/Rurouni Kenshin, 1996. This anime made millions of people all over the world fall in love with Japanese culture and history. Rurouni Kenshin is a period piece that follows the adventure of the wandering samurai Kenshin Himuro during the Meiji era of Japan. After saving a young girl named Kaoru from thugs led by a man who claims to be the legendary assassin Hirokiri Barusai, she offers him a place to stay at her dojo. We find out that Kenshin is in fact the real Hirokiri Barusai, fearsome assassin of the Meiji Restoration period and the Boshin Wars. Now on a path of atonement, symbolized by his reverse-bladed sword, he vows not to kill anymore in order to pay for the sins of his past by helping the needy. With his newfound friends, Kenshin seeks to navigate this new era that he helped create with his bloody hands, even as he is hounded by his past at every step. The animation beautifully showcases the various flashy sword styles of the characters in this show. The early Meiji era of Japan is faithfully rendered with beautiful art and color usage. As an anime whose action is focused on fast-paced sword fighting and martial arts, the animation for this show holds up wonderfully, even in comparison to other anime of its kind in the modern era, including the show's own reboot in 2021. You'd be surprised to know how many animes and manga this title has influenced, from the likes of Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, who just so happened to be a former assistant of Nobuhiro Watsuki, the creator of Samurai X, to Masahishi Kishimoto, the man behind Naruto. The creator of the popular show Demon Slayer has stated that the character design and personality of the protagonist, Tanjiro Kamado, was heavily influenced by Kenshin. The anime gave many foreigners an insight into the fascinating world of samurais and the turbulent transitional period of Japan. As the series progressed, the tone of the show turned darker, but it did so without compromising the narrative and visual charms that made it such a beloved series. If you're looking for some samurai action with excellent characters and animation that transports you back to the period in which the story is set, this is one you definitely cannot miss. Great Teacher Onizuka, 1999. The creation of Toru Fujisawa, the series follows the story of Onizuka, a former gang member who openly declares himself to be a virgin and a pervert. One day, noticing the power of a teacher over their female student, he decides that the only way he's going to have any luck with the ladies is by becoming a teacher himself. To this end, he manages to get his teaching certificate from a second-rate college. He somehow gets appointed as a teacher at the prestigious Holy Forest Academy, despite performing a German suplex on the vice principal. The life of a teacher is, however, not as easy as Onizuka thought it would, and his personal goals must take a back seat as he navigates not just a system that is against him, but also complex societal issues that plague his young students. In his journey to lose his virginity, Onizuka instead unwittingly discovers his empathetic side as he matures as a human being and decides to become the greatest teacher alive. With both of his students constantly engaging him in psychological warfare to get him to quit, and the vice principal of his school who cannot accept someone of his background as a teacher, Onizuka must rely on his unconventional teaching methods to win over his students and become the best teacher possible. This series can be taken as a social commentary and a critique of society and its handling of the youth. It deals with themes that resonate with younger audiences regardless of gender, ethnicity, society, or class, which makes this anime so relatable and timeless. Through the lens of a lazy, sexually frustrated, deviant-turned teacher, the series explores complex themes like suicide, bullying, sexual harassment, violence, and teen pregnancy. It deals with these serious themes using a comedic tone without underplaying or trivializing. Onizuka's journey as he wins his students over one by one and transforms from a delinquent to a teacher loved by everybody is a truly inspiring and heartwarming tale. The show will have you contemplating the more severe themes it explores while having you in stitches holding your sides. The animation uses a lot of computer cloud and water effects, giving it a cozy tone. This anime shines as a true social satire, and it's a must-watch that we are sure you will 100% resonate with, just like we did. And God, do we wish there was a teacher like Onizuka in our lives. One Piece, 1999. No anime list is ever going to be complete without mentioning arguably the greatest anime ever made, One Piece. There's not much we can say that hasn't already been said about this one. It started airing in 1999 and is still going strong 25 years later. It follows the story of Luffy, a young boy who wishes to become the Pirate King, greatest pirate in the realm. The world of One Piece features various factions like the government, pirates, demi-human races, and mythical beasts. It combines the usage of superpowers along with traditional combat seamlessly due to Oda creating an extremely creative and exhaustive distinction between the two. Eiichiro Oda, the creator of the series, has created a universe so densely layered that it's now a community meme. When something of note happens in the show, everybody jokes that the author had already foreshadowed. The show has dedicated fan groups and channels constantly crafting theories about the lore of the world, its characters, and their motivations. At this point, the show is more akin to a social movement than mere anime. The animation, along with Oda's unique art style, immediately makes One Piece stand out from the pack. Now add a never-ending story that's been going on for a quarter of a century, which would honestly take us ages to recount for. In the world of anime, there's something the fans call the Big Three. The title of the Big Three is generally given to the three greatest anime ever. One Piece is constantly mentioned as one of these three anime. With the other anime in this list, we've been presenting them to you with the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia on, but when it comes to One Piece, we have a true ongoing legend of the 90s era. It's like being able to witness history unfolding in front of your eyes. Unlike the other anime of the 90s, we cannot yet honestly say what the definitive impact of this anime is going to be until it finally ends. But when it does, One Piece will probably be a mountain whose summit will be as elusive as the titular object of the anime. If you are one of the few who hasn't seen this show yet, we request you not rob yourself of one of the greatest anime of all time. Serial Experiments Lain, 1998. When a middle school girl named Lain and her schoolmates start receiving emails from a dead classmate, the message reads, "I have only abandoned my body. I still live here." What follows next is Lain's journey into the world of Wire, the show's version of the internet. Living with a dysfunctional family, Lain is a quiet, introverted girl who has no desire to engage with technology. However, after she receives that message from her school friend who has committed suicide, Lain's world is thrown upside down as it opens a floodgate into a strange world full of esoteric messages and strange men in black who seem to know more about her than she does herself. Though on the surface, the anime seems to deal with a simple message of the dangers of technology, it contends with far more complex issues as well. As her sense of reality collapses around her due to the blurring of the line between what is real in cyberspace, Lain begins to have experiences that start to challenge the very fabric of things such as identity, loneliness, reality, mental illness, and existential crises. It explores Lain's journey from her diminutive personality to a confident girl as she navigates this bizarre world she finds herself thrust into. Several fans and critics of the series have drawn comparisons with Neon Genesis Evangelion, as it too deals with similar themes. Chiaki J. Konaka, the creator of the show, has, however, outright denied this, claiming he'd never watched Evangelion until they finished the 4th episode of their own show. The anime features a haunting soundtrack that complements the slow-burning pace of the anime. It features surreal and avant-garde imagery, which it uses masterfully to deal with its various themes. Due to the heavy nature of those themes and its slow pacing, it might be a tough watch for some. In all these years, no anime has since come close to replicating what the series puts its audience through. The show is heavily experimental for its time. If you're a fan of cyberpunk, psychological, and techno horror shows, we recommend that you absolutely not overlook this one. Cowboy Bebop, 1998. The year 1998 would see the release of an anime that, according to its creator, would pioneer an entirely new genre by itself. The anime Cowboy Bebop follows the adventures of the crew of the spaceship Bebop. The spaceship's motley crew of bounty hunters engage in all sorts of missions and errands for financial gains. Terrible luck that leaves them with no money most of the time. The crew consists of Spike Spiegel, an exiled hitman, Faye, a beautiful con artist with amnesia, an eccentric child genius hacker named Edward, Jet, a former police officer, and their dog, Ai, who is a genetically enhanced corgi with human-level intellect. As this gang of misfits struggles to make ends meet, they develop bonds of friendship with each other, trying to fill the holes they have in their hearts. Beneath their happy-go-lucky personalities, each member has a past that they need to reckon with at some point. It explores the themes of loneliness, existential crisis, consequences, capitalism, and violence in what is called by many a neo-noir western space anime. The show is primarily episodic in nature, and each episode's name is an homage to an actual song. It's won many prestigious awards, like back-to-back first places at the Anime Grand Prix Awards for the years 1999 and 2000. Spike Spiegel was awarded the Best Male Character, and the series itself was awarded the second best anime series award. It's an amalgamation of several genres and is one of the only anime to pull it off successfully. The anime draws inspiration from other genres like cyberpunk, westerns, noir, and sci-fi. Cowboy Bebop also features one of the best soundtracks in the entire media. Composer for the show, Yoko Kanno, even formed a blues and jazz band called the Seatbelts to perform the show's music. Cowboy Bebop is a fun show that, on the surface, initially feels like a light-hearted show about a bunch of space Robin Hoods. Still, as we go further into the series, it reveals a much more layered show centered around complex characters with some dark pasts and a bright neon future. Dragon Ball Z 1989. Oh my god, just give us a second. We already hear your keyboards clackering, but hear us out here. Although the series technically started airing in April 1989, how many of us have spent our days in the 90s screaming our lungs out, trying to get our hair to go blonde and turn into Super Saiyans? Created by the late legendary Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball Z is a sequel to the cult classic 80s series Dragon Ball. In Dragon Ball Z, we follow the adventures of an adult Goku who is now a father. The show introduces many iconic characters such as Vegeta, Cell, Frieza, and Boo. It dramatically expands the Dragon Ball mythos by introducing the godlike Kais. It also sees the return of older characters like Master Roshi, Tien, Yamcha, and Piccolo. The show would cement Toriyama's legacy and catapult the franchise into what it is today. For a show about muscly guys punching each other, it sends a great message about not giving up and persevering through adversity. The character design of Toriyama, which is iconic in its own regard, comes to life through the animation of this show, as punches and energy beams are thrown with literal earth-shattering ferocity. The concept of powering up and auras enveloping the characters that we see in many popular shonen animes of today is arguably influenced by Dragon Ball Z. The character of Son Goku is inspired by the Chinese Buddhist myth of the Monkey King Sun Wukong. The series has also spawned several memes and spin-offs. With an ever-growing fan base, to say that this anime is still relevant would be a gross understatement. Akira Toriyama might have passed on to a happier place, but Dragon Ball Z is a true testament to the man's talent. This is a show that you absolutely cannot miss, as its power level is literally over 9,000. Marvelous verdict! Quite often, we give in to our nostalgia and go down the rabbit hole, scared of being greeted with disappointment if things we enjoyed in our past don't resonate the same way now. We're afraid of tarnishing our precious memories and the feeling of warmth these shows gave us during days that were much simpler. The 90s animes we've recommended on this list will not disappoint you and will surely evoke that feeling we've lost over the years. Even if you're not a child of that generation and are wondering what these boomers are making a fuss about, just give them a shot. We're sure you'll be moved. Let us know your favorite 90s animes that still hold up to this day in the comments down below, and as always, we hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next one.